Hi, this is Vincent McFadden reporting from the Republic of Korea, South Korea, and I'm going to talk to you about my thesis for the Master of Arts in Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages at the University of San Francisco. I've been working in South Korea for about 5 years, almost 5 years, and in that time I've worked in private a private institution, which was my first experience working as a native English teacher in the country, and that was in a large city. And private institution, the private institutions, what they're called in Korea is Hagwons. But since then, I left that job and I started working in the rural countryside as an elementary school native English teacher, teaching English as a foreign language to students from third grade to sixth grade. Um, and this is what got me interested in my topic for the thesis at the University of San Francisco. Through personal witness, I've seen difference in the language skills in from from city students and rural country students. And this got me wondering, why is this happening? So I started exploring more about this. And what I found is that there's actual scholarly work regarding what's called the English divide in the country. Now, the English divide is a separation, it's a gap between rural country students and city students in South Korea. Now, this makes you wonder why did they create a term such as the English divide in a country that speaks Korean? So this brings up certain studies in my literature review, particularly mm, Bach 2009. And Bach 2009, what he finds is that after the Korean War, there was this rapid expansion to the cities. The cities started booming in, from the 1950s after the Korean War, and um, people from the countryside started going to the cities, and the ones who were left over kind of got left out of the whole mix. So that's why you have these big populations in the cities in Korea, particularly Seoul, which has like 14 million people. Um, so what's been happening is that students in the cities are being accepted at higher rates compared to students to universities compared to students in um, in the countryside. Now this makes you wonder, like, why again? Why English, right? Why English? So on 2013, she explains this a lot, and this is in the literature review as well. Um, English in Korea is used as a means of advancement. So the Korean SAT has an English section in it. University students have to take an English exam to get into university. Now this makes you think, okay, maybe they can go to community college or something like that and work around that system. No, it doesn't work that way here in Korea. You are determined, your fate is determined by the Korean SAT. In Korean, it's called Suneung test. And there are top Korean universities. Kim and Kim 2012 in my study talks about this, the top universities. Um, there's something like, I think it's 60% of top government officials and top Korean company CEOs and board members. 60% of all of them have gone to the top three universities called Sky Universities in Korea. And this is all in result to their high SAT scores. So primarily, city students have better chances of going to these top level universities compared to um, the rural country students. And what Kim and Kim found is that the divide is actually widening. So um, this is what my study is based off of. And from that, some theories suggest that Hagwons, the Hagwons are known as private institutions. Hagwons have a lot to do with that, or what some scholars suggest, and others refute that. But that will be discussed in chapter 2, as you can read. Um, so Hagwons are available at high costs, primarily in cities, and not some available in the countryside. So, in response to this, the government under the Im Young Bak administration in 2008 created what's called the Teach and Learn. I'm sorry, the Teach and Learn in Korea program, otherwise known as Talk. And what this program did was it took Western university students from Western countries and brought them into the country to teach English in these rural areas in place of Hagwons. So after school, the school, the students take classes only in rural areas with talk teachers. They're actually called scholars through the program. And um, my study wanted to mm, check and examine the talk program compared to the Hagwons and see the if the divide is lessening or widening. If the talk program is helping the divide lessen or contribute more to widening it uh, as some scholars have suggested. Now, by doing this, I interviewed four Hagwon teachers in a major in Daegu, which is Korea's third largest city, and I also interviewed talk scholars in the rural countryside, specifically in Gyeongsangbuk-do. In English, that is North Gyeongsan Province. And what I did was I asked them all the same questions relating to their teacher background, their opinion about regarding their students' background, their um, um, their culture, their school curriculum, culture, and goals, and finally asked them to take me through a day in their class. So I wanted to compare these differences between the Rural Talk program and the city Hagwons and see if there's major differences in the programs which could be helping lessen the English divide or perhaps widening it. So um, what my study found was that the talk program is very far behind these Hagwons, and I make some suggestions to the talk program, some of which are to um, create a centralized curriculum. Many of these university students who are recruited from Western nations come to the country. They have a class full of 18 students, and they're supposed to teach English somehow with no guidance. It's basically like, oh, here you are, good luck. Try teaching these kids. And you have situations which I found where teachers don't know how to assess students and they're having them draw pictures. One of the subjects reported that um, they would say a vocabulary word and the students had to draw a picture and turn in the picture to be assessed. Uh, but contrary to the Hagwons, you have very strict system where um, the teachers have little leeway to bring in um, their own adaptation to the curriculum. They're very strict. They follow very strict guidelines to try and ensure results. And that brings me into another major difference between the talk and the Hagwon system, where you have um, you have parental involvement more so in Hagwons. You have parents. Some of the subjects I interviewed told me that parents are calling and text messaging the teachers complaining that their students aren't achieving the results in the public school, and they're blaming the Hagwon for not promise for their students not achieving the results that the Hagwon had promised. So I mean, these parents are paying sometimes $450 a month to send their students to these English Hagwons for 8 hours a week, and then I'm sorry, the talk program. They have 45-minute classes a week, um, and little to no parental involvement. So these are the some key differences that I found, and I want to say that this study was very meaningful to me because my my whole professional career has been almost all of it has been in Korea, and my teaching experience has been in the rural countryside, and for 4 years out of the 5 years I've lived here. And this study was very meaningful to me, and I hope it can be used for future studies. And um, I hope that it can be used, and I hope that the talk program and Hagwons can benefit from it in this from this context. So thank you very much for listening, and please enjoy the read. I hope you enjoy it.